Kevin, great job tonight. My name is Jeff Mako. I run a software company. We do mobile application development. It's called Appet Ventures. My question is fairly simple. A challenge we had this morning of we're growing fast, but what's unique about our model is that we invest in our client ideas with our resources and our time. So right now as a company, we're very equity rich, but we're not cash rich. At the same time, we need people that can produce, but it's tough for us to pay market rate, right? So there's revenue share on the table, there's equity. We're really focusing hard on building a tremendous culture where people are inspired to come in, they have purpose, autonomy. But this morning we had a guy who said, look, my personal balance sheet is equity rich as well. And not only do I want equity rate, but I want, market rate, but I want market rate plus 30%. And it's just a challenge for us to go, how do we balance the financial wherewithal of our business while at the same time staying true to our core purpose of investing alongside oftentimes first-time entrepreneurs to really take their app idea and build it into a business.
Okay. So if I understand the question, the challenge is that how do you get people to be committed and inspired at a price point that's affordable to your business?
Yep.
Okay. So again, opportunity here is this. That person sounds to me like they're saying, I love it here. It's nice. It's a great environment. But I measure the way I'm motivated is that I'm motivated by monetary gain. And so they're selling you straight out that there's a gap between how they're motivated and how you want them to be motivated. They're motivated in the moment. You want them to be motivated for the long term. Probably not a good fit. Even if you paid to 30%, there's a good probability that you've just tied yourself into what I call the manipulative model, which is there's a price tag on everything versus I'm doing this because it's what I really want to do and because I want to be a part of this. And it sounds to me like you're saying that you want people that want to be a part of it and are willing to make the investment for the long run. So it's a tough choice. Now, if in fact that talent is something that's not available in the marketplace, you got to pay market rate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Monica Valdez. I'm the Director of Marketing with Amadeus Consulting based in Boulder. So my challenge that I'm curious to get some insight from you, Kevin, on is around, you had mentioned it earlier, but delivering and receiving critical feedback. As I find myself personally in a position where I'm directing, leading both the work and the direction of others, as well as sharing company vision, and really helping to grow a team, I'm finding that to be one of my biggest challenges. And so living inspired, what are 3 things I can do to better foster communication on my team?
So you start, if I understand correctly, you started out focused on giving and receiving critical feedback. Is that at the core of this?
That's the core of it, yeah.
Okay. So this is a question I get often. And usually when people are asking it, the opportunity to not have the question has passed. Meaning that there's been an artifact, there's been a dynamic, there's been some experience over time, and now the level of polarization between you and that other person is significant. So there's a lot of baggage. Am I getting that correctly?
Absolutely.
Okay. So in order to move forward, you got to unpack the baggage. And often what I find when I'm working with clients and as a consultant is that there is a hurt or a pain that one or the other is unaware of. So in other words, if you did the hurting, you have no idea of what you did. The person didn't advocate at the time and say, and deal with the issue in the moment. So what happens is that once we've created that artifact, that situation where we hurt unintentionally the other person or we did something that caused us to be perceived negatively by that person, then it just builds on itself until you go back and deal with the root cause. I call them reset conversations. It's the conversation where you go and say, you know what, here's the pattern, this is what I see as a dynamic between the two of us, and I'd like to change that. And I think too, if you analyze it over time, you'll find what you can own in that dynamic. And the great thing to do is to lead with the ownership, which is I recognize that I did this thing that caused us to get to where we are, and I sincerely and authentically regret that. And then it's like, how can we move forward? Notice it's not giving a solution. How can we move forward together in a different way? And then you just shut up and listen. Does that help?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Michael Dunlap. I'm a territory manager for BMW covering the Rocky Mountains. Thanks for having us here tonight, Kevin.
You're welcome.
My question is, when you're in an advisory position, like I am, I oversee a territory of automotive dealers, let's say, and you're trying to inspire folks that are sort of within your team, but you're not cutting their paycheck, right? So they come to work and they're inspired and they work for an employer for a particular set of reasons that don't necessarily align with what my inspirations or desires for their performance are. How do you take your model? How do you take what you're talking about and try to drive inspiration? How do you try to motivate or inspire those folks when their motivations are different than your own?
Okay. Well, first of all, fundamentally, I say you can't. In this case, influence is your only tool. And the thing that gives us the ability to influence is relational capital. Okay? If we have a relationship, I can influence you. If we don't have any relationship whatsoever, chances of me influencing you are slim to none. So I need to understand you and have rapport with you. Okay? In other words, I need to understand what you need and what drives you. You need to understand what works for me, and we need to somehow be able to have and open up that communication space so that we can see where our differences are. Otherwise, what happens in the human dynamic is we fill in the white space ourselves. We interpret another person's behavior. We never ask the question. It's called the ladder of inference. And we walk up that ladder, this A plus B must equal C, and we start behaving as if our assumptions are facts. A model, I would call it a higher probability model, is to seek to understand, to use another Covey terminology. I need to go and understand what is going on, not only with you, but also the forces of influence in your world, to understand what is driving your behavior. And I also need to make sure that you understand that what you're doing is creating a problem for me. That, in other words, we're not aligned. We all work and live in worlds where there are perverse incentives, okay, or competing demands, which means there's not alignment. There's a natural conflict or a tension there. And what we're trying to do is just manage that more effectively. And it's that rapport. And when I say rapport, I mean it's understanding, that common understanding of each other that allows us to be able to exercise that influence.
Hi, I'm Kevin King, founder and CEO of Transformation Point, and thank you for visiting our website. My sole purpose in life is to help others live inspired. To live inspired, we have to have an understanding of our past, our present, and our desired future. Generally speaking, our past has an overwhelming impact on our ability to live in the present and to achieve that desired future. And what I'd like to have an opportunity to do is to listen authentically to your story so that we can help you understand how to make that future possible. In our series of videos here, as well as our blog posts and other information you'll find on our website, it's all designed to help you unlock the path to living inspired. Thank you.